This is an awful situation. It's driven by a complex confluence of factors, from extreme weather in an era of climate change to an electric infrastructure that's been woefully underdeveloped to the idiosyncrasies of Texas' aggressively deregulated and independent energy markets. But of course, Fox News and other Republicans saw some kind of suffering, some kind of problem somewhere, and immediately, without missing a beat, right away, tried to turn it into a culture war, in this case, against those damn hippie liberals and their clean energy.
The blackouts that are in Texas are being made worse by the failure of wind turbines, many freezing in the icy weather, cutting output in half. And it's raising questions about the Lone Star State's increasing reliance on renewable energy.
Now, folks, this is all more proof that green energy just is not ready for prime time. You get sub-freezing temperatures, and wind and solar just don't work for power.
If this Green New Deal goes forward the way that the Biden administration appears to want it to, then we'll have more events like we've had in Texas all across the country.
These wind farms that are frozen, they're an eyesore, they're not efficient, they're not delivering the energy that we want.
The windmills failed, like the silly fashion accessories they are, and people in Texas died.
Silly fashion accessories. Now, keep in mind, when California was suffering from blackouts last year, Texas Republicans, from Ted Cruz to Dan Patrick and Ken Paxton, were pushing out gloating tweets about how backwards liberal California is. But imagine how stupid you would have to think your audience is, the contempt you would have to hold them in, to look into the camera and try to sell them on the idea that windmills don't work when it's cold. After Texas, Iowa is the state with the most wind power in the country. If you've ever been to Iowa in the winter, I can tell you from personal experience, it gets pretty cold in Iowa, right? Denmark gets nearly half of its energy from wind power. Also, I don't know if you've looked this up, anyone over on Fox News, but Denmark, very cold place in the winter. You don't have to take my word for it, of course. We have the data from Texas. Now, Texas has their own energy grid, okay? It is run by an organization called the Electric Reliability Council of Texas, or ERCOT. A senior director of ERCOT telling Bloomberg today, I quote, "While ice has forced some wind turbines to shut down, just as a brutal cold wave drives record electricity demand, that's been the least significant factor in the blackouts. The main factors have been frozen instruments at natural gas, coal, and even nuclear facilities, as well as limited supplies of natural gas. Natural gas pressure, in particular, is one reason power is coming back slower than expected. Wind shutdowns accounted for less than 13% of the total outages, and wind generation has actually exceeded the grid operator's daily forecast through the weekend." Did you get all that? Okay, that's the people that run the Texas grid. Wind power outages are, quote, "the least significant factor in the blackouts, and the main factors are frozen instruments at natural gas, coal, and even nuclear facilities." It is just a lie that wind turbines, green energy, are the root causes of the problems in Texas right now. It is a lie like Donald Trump won the election, a lie like there was widespread voter fraud, a lie pumped into millions of people's brains as they watch TV. And let's be clear, this is probably as consequential a lie as any about the election, because energy and how we produce it is the single biggest issue this country will face in the medium term.